holding off a few minutes. We are missing a few students, but hopefully they'll make their way in momentarily, okay? So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Cedric Coffee House, which we hope is our first annual event of many more to come. On behalf of our fellow language arts teachers, Stephanie Consoli, Julia Petrini, and our own Quest teacher, David Lee, we would like to take this opportunity to welcome, acknowledge, and thank the following people. To our principal, Juan Milian, and our department supervisor, Amy Mahoney. Thank you for all of your support and encouragement in planning this event. To Ms. Weiss for all of your technical support. I have to tell you, I don't know what we would do if she didn't help us out tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you to Shannon McNeese, our school librarian, for allowing us to use her space for a reception afterwards. Our gratitude extends to our reading coach, Michelle Tardif, all of our security personnel, as well as our custodial staff for all of the behind the scenes that allowed tonight to come to fruition. Where would we be without all of our families? Thank you so much for cheering on your children and for bringing them this evening and for picking them up on Thursdays after practicing and writing a book. We are so deeply appreciative to all of you. And finally, last but not least, all of our student writers. Thank you for coming tonight to share all of your stories. Thank you for being so brave, for having the courage to come on stage or to showcase your work in the library. We are truly in awe of all of you, and I think you all deserve a round of applause right from the very beginning. So I promise I'm almost done. In language arts, we talk a lot about reading literature through the lens of what we refer to as mirrors and windows. And a mirror allows us to read literature and to see ourselves and our own experiences reflected in the many stories that we're reading. Tonight, we invite you to sit back, relax, and find a mirror as students read their original work. Maybe it isn't a mirror from our lives as current adults, but maybe we think back to our middle school selves. Imagine. Or tonight, perhaps we'll perch on that windowsill and peek in through a window and learn about an experience of someone else within our West Hartford community. Ultimately, our stories have the ability to unite us when celebrated collectively. So, have a wonderful evening, enjoy the stories, and we hope to see you in the library afterwards. Henry, the stage is yours.
Hi everyone. My piece is titled You Never Know by Henry Tamaccio. Alright, let's start. 6th grade. Everyone says they can't wait to grow up and get to middle school, and I was just like everyone else. But now I wish I didn't take elementary school for granted. I had no friends in my 6th grade classes, or many friends at all, so I stayed quiet. It felt as if I was invisible. Even though I was in a room full of people, I felt alone. No one cared about what I did, I was just there. The nights I would stay up as late as my body let me just to try to avoid the tiring, lifeless, soul-sucking day ahead, increasingly frequent as the year went on. I've always been the one to ask how someone's doing, but no one checked on me. Even though I probably would have told them that everything was fine when things weren't, it still would have been nice to know someone in this world was worried about how I was doing. Early in the year, this kid named Stanley came up to me during French class and asked if he could sit next to me, so I said sure, because no one else was going to sit there. But at the same time, I wanted to say no. I didn't know what to expect. I've never talked to him, and suddenly out of nowhere, he wants to sit next to me. Did he really want to sit next to me? Did he just feel bad for me? The thoughts overflowed in my mind. I didn't even notice he had sat down at this point. I sat there for the rest of class, head down, wondering if I should just use the restroom and, ignore him. What I really wanted to do was run away, run from another interaction with a kid I wanted nothing to do with. Who knew that would spark a beautiful friendship? Stanley had many friends. He was on a different team than me, so we didn't see each other besides French class. The year went on. Tests, homework, stress, repetitiveness, constantly begging to stay home or trying to fake being sick. Every day when my parents got home from work, they would ask, "How was school?" "School was good," was my reply, every single time. At the end of the year, I was hanging out with my two friends as they talked about how they got invited to a pool party at Stanley's house. I wasn't invited. I didn't really mind that much because I just gotten to know Stanley, but my friend Nathan insisted on Stanley inviting me to the party. Later that night, I got a text from Stanley asking if I wanted to go. I was hesitant at first, so I asked what my mom thought. She wanted me to go, and she wanted me to make an effort to make some friends. She probably just wanted me to have people to do stuff with during the summer so I wouldn't bother her. I ended up accepting the invitation. I thought, I have nothing to do that day, so why not? It was still a week away, but the group chat was buzzing with texts. Stanley was explaining what the party was going to be like. Food, music, and people. People I didn't know. Most of the people in the group chat, I didn't even know who they were, and they didn't know who I was. I was rethinking my decision. I didn't text anything because I didn't know if I wanted to go anymore. A few days passed, and I still didn't respond. I didn't know if I should just go or if I should make up an excuse and stay home. At last, the big day arrived. I still haven't made up my mind. I don't know what I really expected. I guess I thought the day would never come if I didn't make a decision. Or was I wrong? I came up with a plan to act like I had forgotten about the whole thing and that I wasn't invited in the first place. I forgot about one thing though. I forgot I had told my mom. My plan failed. She knew exactly when and where the party was. As soon as I saw her in the morning, she asked if I was excited about the party. Oh, the party, I said. I totally forgot about that. A few hours later, I was in my mom's car heading towards Stanley's house. I kept thinking of every possible thing that could go wrong. I was so zoned out, my mom had to keep repeating her questions. Henry, she kept calling me. I couldn't focus. By the time we got there, it seemed like I knew every possible outcome, and none of them ended well for me. As we got out of the car, my mom got out with me. I asked what she was doing. I'm walking up with you, and I made Rice Krispie treats. I tried to tell her not to walk with me. I already didn't know anyone there, and my mom walking in with me holding homemade Rice Krispie treats would just make things worse. I don't really think she cared about me being embarrassed because she insisted that she walk with me anyway. As we walked up the street, there were about 15 kids outside playing in the front yard. My vision started to blur. It felt as if there were a pack of wolves who hadn't eaten in days, and I was going to become the next meal. This all stopped, and I heard a familiar voice. It was Stanley. I introduced Stanley to my mom. He showed me his backyard with my mom following my every step, Rice Krispie treats in hand. He told me to put the Rice Krispie treats right on the snack table. There was candy, chips, soda, anything you would find at a middle school boys' party. Stanley took me back to meet everyone as my mom talked with his parents. This was it. This was the moment I've been dreading. This is Henry, Stanley said. Hi, everyone. My face turned bright red as I waved. I didn't know what to do at that moment, so I stood there awkwardly. My eyes jolted back and forth between every single person there as I awaited a response. All of a sudden, one person said hi, and after that, it was like a domino effect. One after the other, everyone just simply said hi. Things could have gone worse, I thought to myself. Then Stanley asked if people wanted to go swimming. Everyone headed to the back and started jumping in the pool. I took my time, still a bit unsure, until one person asked if I was coming in. This was followed by everyone else yelling for me to come in. I felt included by people I've maybe seen once or twice in the hallways at school. The day went on. It felt as if I'd known everyone since we were little. After a few hours, my mom texted asking when she should pick me up. I wanted to stay as long as possible. I was actually having fun. Never in a million years did I think it would turn out this way. I was one of the last ones to leave and had gone from knowing 2 people at the party to knowing everyone there and considering us as friends. I realize now that if you're ever worried or nervous about something, give it a shot because you don't know what you can miss out on.
Hello, my name is Lilah, and my piece is titled Laundry Day. When you're young, you look up to your family, eyes wide open, jaw dropped. Each daily task that they complete seems formidable. Each step is closer to becoming a grown-up. In my house, my dad stays home and my mom works. My dad does most of the chores around the house, and my brother and I help out when we can. However, you would 100% not catch my brother dead with a laundry basket in hand. Or a clean pair of socks, for that matter. Anyway, that's besides the point. This story is about me and my life-altering event. Staring at the ceiling, another day of waiting for an event of a lifetime to occur, which was definitely not the case. Looking around my room, I saw the immense amount of clothes taking up what space I had left. The thought of needing clean clothes for the dreaded school week ahead popped into my cluttered brain. This was quite a surprise because I hadn't thought about laundry before. My parents had always been in charge of that. However, recently I felt my parents lacking on the laundry job. More like I felt myself lacking on putting the clothes into the hamper. But anyway, I figured it was my turn to give it a try. As I walked out into the halls of my house, my dad came hobbling through the door of his room. He looked confused. "Where are you going with that pile of clothes? Are you going to wash them?" he questioned. I paused for a moment, unsure whether I was being taunted or actually questioned. I then proceeded to say, "I figured it was time for these clothes to have a good wash, and I want to do it myself." My dad was stunned, concerned almost, worried that it would be actually doing my own laundry. I felt as though I was being provoked. I was wrong. "Wow, I've got to say I'm impressed. I didn't realize you're becoming such a grown-up," my dad said with a smile peeking through. "Thanks, Dad, but it's really not that big of a deal. We all do laundry at some point," I replied, trying hard to control the grin that formed on my face. Looking down at the heavy basket in my arms, I realized my clothes were half in, half out, all sorts of different fabrics, textures, and colors, waiting to be washed. As I moved, so did the basket. Down the staircase to the dark and decayed basement where the washer and dryer awaited. The minuscule amount of light that flowed from the bulb up above plastered on the washer, like a spotlight on a vacant stage. Opening the small circle door on the modern washer, I realized that it sat like an elephant in a room full of wooden-paneled walls and cold cement floors. The oceany scent of the washer filled my lungs. I could feel the sun on my cheeks and the warm sand pushing into my feet. Seagulls flying above, looking for a sandwich to steal. Fresh, sweet aromas flying around the room, socks and shirts falling to the ground. As I lifted the heavy pile into the washer, soaps and scents mixed together in the spaces between my dirty clothes, and scent beads piled high. The illuminated green button stared back at me, forcing me to question how much I actually knew about the washer. Now is the hard part. I set the dial to normal, fast spin, and casual close, pressing the bright green start button, feeling proud that I knew how to set the washer up for success. However, this was just the beginning. Now it was time to wait the 40 minutes that it took to wash the pile of clothes. At last, the long-awaited 40 minutes had come to an end. I tossed my clothes and set the dryer to normal, fast spin, and casual. When I took out the now fabulous-smelling clothes, I smiled with success. The thought of accomplishment seeped into my brain and vanished, right when I realized that I still had to fold these newly washed clothes. In a moment of great accomplishment had just become a moment of great peril. I endured the climb back up the stairs with a large broken basket, which now held the fresh, sweet-smelling clothes, and I spent the next few minutes, which felt like hours, separating and folding these items. Now I know why my parents want help with folding the laundry. It's hard. My last and final adventure was to figure out a way to neatly shove all my clothes into the drawer in a way that wouldn't offend my mother's organization habits. Normally, I would just stuff everything into the dresser and call it a day, but today I had a little bit more pride than that. I methodically placed each item of clothing in the right sections, and now I was done. Finally, the quest to adulthood was over, or so I thought as I looked at the pile of dishes on my desk that I still needed to bring down to the kitchen sink.
My name is Mohammed, and this is my memoir, Why Don't You Do Your Homework? I once was a student, maybe still am, who would come back to school the next day without doing their homework. Most often the teacher would ask, "Fill out your homework sheets from yesterday." Since I never did this, I would dread this question. I would just sit there, hoping they would forget to ask me. I had all F's. I thought I knew what was going on in class. I didn't. If I did the homework, I would have known, but I'm just too lazy to do it. Over the summer, I gave it a lot of thought, and I decided it was better to engage in school rather than being a bystander and getting bad grades. But I didn't want to
have a bad grade, so I decided to myself that I would do my homework to avoid the hassles of always being behind. Before school ended, Mr. LaPointe gave me some drums. You may ask me, why did he give me some drums? The answer is because he watched me in class tapping on the desk like a weirdo, and annoying all the teachers and the students in the class. I wasn't on the teacher's good side because I wasn't doing my homework anyway. So I would use the drums in the summer, but I eventually got bored of it and just went back to playing video games. August came and I was back in school, but now I knew what not to do this year. This year I would do my homework and be a normal person and stop yelling at me. It was very easy to do this. It was not very easy to do this. Sometimes I would do my work nonstop for hours, and other times I would not do a single page. I was given information about time management from Mr. LaPointe, and I have not always applied this knowledge, but I've learned a lot about managing my time. And with this, I've been setting up schedules to do my work. As a result, I've been seeing my grade higher than a D for the first time, and it felt very nice. I even received Student of the Month. It was the first time I ever received Student of the Month in my entire life. Regardless of this success, I continued to do my work. When I finally realized I was getting faster at doing my work and taking less time to complete it since I'm retaining information much more, since I've become much more organized, so much so that on some days I absolutely know what to do, which is a stark difference compared to last year and being now I'm reaching the finish line of my middle school career, and I've never been more excited for the future. I'll take my new confidence into high school and beyond. Yeah, that's it.
My name is Penny Thomas, and the title of my piece is Distance. Since I can remember, there was always a sibling in my life. Regardless of my twin siblings, Maddie and Miles, being 2 years younger than I was, I still can't recall an instance about my family without checking them down. Since my siblings were born-girl twins, me and my sister shared a room. It had enough space for our identical twin beds, dressers, and a closet split in half between hot pinks and blacks, purples and yellows. The whole room was completely pink and matchy-matchy, everything either being violently bright or barely seeable. Our bunk beds carried into our new house, moving for my mom's job when I was going into first grade. Our new one was much more grand than our previous one. If I had yelled in it, since there was no furniture, it felt like a cave. I could hear the faint sound of my own voice echoing back to me. Aside from that, the thing I was most excited about was my new room. My sister and I would still be sharing it, but we would be able to arrange it however we saw fit. As years went by, my sister's presence became more of an annoyance than I had expected. The disarray of unkempt objects felt like an itch I couldn't scratch. It strained me, depleting my energy to even let my mind ponder about my sister's version of what clean may have meant to her. Maddie was never one to put objects away that she played with regardless, but I never expected that she would lie so much. Every week, our parents checked in to see if our room was clean. Whenever my mother came in, she would ridicule us because of the mess. I would always stare at my sister, awaiting her apology, finally owning up to her for leaving everything on the ground, but it never came. Trying to keep my composure, I exhaled loudly. I imagined burning a hole into her head, seeing her hair smoking, turning redder by how much I opened my eyes. Following the last time my mother checked in, the next week, our toy-coated floor miraculously began to shrink in size, like a dry sponge soaking up liquid. Questioning my sister, I asked where they all went. I don't know, they're yours anyway, she snapped back at me. With a scowl on my face, I stomped up the stairs and began investigating our room. There's no way she actually cleaned anything up, I whispered under my breath. Entering my room, the sun's rays folded through the accordion zigzag on the side of the air conditioner as I sat on my bed to think. I began searching for the abandoned toys. Finally, on the brink of giving up, I turned my body to the only place I had not checked in the room yet, under my sister's bed. I imagined myself as a detective, this being the final piece of evidence to complete the case. In slow motion, I finally gathered the courage to divert my eyes downwards. Dolls, accessories, blocks, Legos, singular socks, anything imaginable. I cautiously turned to look under my own bed. I wish I had looked with some sort of hazmat suit or gas mask. The extraterrestrial mound colored the wood floor,
Half of the objects were indistinguishable. Pushing myself further under the bed to get a better look into the world of unwashed clothing and stolen foreign objects, squinting my eyes as if I would get a better view that way. I recoiled, overwhelmed by the trinkets and wadded up balls of gold paper. Why would anybody want this stuff? I thought to myself. Turning away stunned, I slid out from underneath the bed. I could feel my pulse in my neck and head from laying on the cold wood paneling. Dust and debris colored my shirt like spray paint. I was unaware how filmy I had become, like a dog foaming at the mouth. I could feel my cheeks heating up. I powdered in aggravation as an imaginary containment suit, sulking and sitting crisscross on the floor. My parents rushed into our shared bedroom, my sister following a few seconds afterwards. I hollered for them, so obviously they were concerned. Pointing at my bed, I screamed, "Look!" Crouching down, they peered at the unconquered monster I had discovered under the bed frame. Turning their eyes, falling on my younger sister expectantly, they asked who did this. Her pigtails hid her face as she awkwardly swiveled with stiffened shoulders and a humph, following an eye roll. Facing the opposite direction, she said, "It wasn't me, that's all Penny's stuff." Over the passing years, the fights did not simmer down. As a result, on my 10th birthday, there was a plan set in place for me to move downstairs. The new space was a quick fix to a long-term problem. It was sloppily repainted and now repulsive color to me, bright teal. The room was an add-on from the original house, and although it did not feel disconnected visually, the cold winters and dripping hot summers separated it from the rest of the house. Because of this issue, my parents realized it was time to make another change, soon moving me again into the playroom. 2023. I sat in my room once again. My room, all to myself. It had become quite quiet as of recently. No fights, talks, anything of the sorts. Deciding to go outside, stepping on my rollerblades and leaving swiftly. "I'm gonna go outside for a bit," I yelled to my sister. She responds with a simple okay. Circling back to the uphill back towards my house, I hear a faint noise being yelled out. Was Mom home? Did she want me back? Swiveling my head left to right, my eyes fixate on the backyards that can be seen halfway up my street. The ant-looking figure waving me back from the screened-in door was yelling my name. "Penny!" I soon recognized it as my sister. Coming back as fast as I could, I asked her what was wrong. "Wait up," she said. "I want to go with you." I could feel a smile appear on my face. Shortly after our trip, she said, "Let's do this every Friday." I nodded in agreement. A new tradition was born. After that night, I laid sprawled out on my bed, thinking of all the times we fought. I couldn't believe we used to scream and yell over things like that. Who didn't clean this, who didn't clean that? Laughing to myself and scanning my own room, now maybe even dirtier than it was when we had shared one. The distance between us usually went unnoticed now. The physical space didn't get in the way of bringing us closer together.
I'm Seda Walsh, and my piece is titled Spaghetti Head. Ugh, I groan as I hear my Alexa blurt out Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift. It's so early, but picture day is important, especially in 5th grade. I won't ever be in elementary school again. I had made a decision last night that I was going to make my hair look good. No, not just good. Good is a boring word. I'm going to make my hair look magnificent. I put on the outfit that my mom and I had picked out the week before. Now, my hair is the only problem. I sit down in my closet just like every day. I grab my brush and start running it through my hair. I have a vision and I need to accomplish it. A beautiful, high ponytail with straight, long, shiny brunette hair, and my perfect purple scrunchie. I keep brushing my hair. Slowly, time passed. I continue brushing my hair, but nothing was changing. 7:29, the clock reads. Quickly, it switches to 7:30. I sluggishly walk back over in my mirror. At this point, I've lost all motivation to make my hair look good. I pick up my brush once again. As I start brushing my hair, my curls keep on forming, turning into an undefined mess. Suddenly, tears fill my eyes. Ugh, I think to myself, I can't stand curly hair. It's too bumpy, it doesn't stay flat, and it's so naughty. I look up into the mirror, and all I see is a girl with poofy, knotted hair. I cry harder when I realize it's me. Quickly, I look over at the clock. Oh no, it's 7:50. The bus comes in 10 minutes, and I'm a complete mess. I don't know what to do. I can't miss the bus. My mom would kill me. I run the brush back through my hair, panicking. All I do is make it worse. I can't believe I woke up early for this. All I was trying to do was make my hair look nice for picture day. I pick up a tissue and blow my nose so hard my ears pop. I let out a wail. I can't believe this is happening.
Seda, how are you doing? I hear my mom call out to me. Asking me how I'm doing is her way of warning me that the bus is almost here. I take a deep breath. Good, I'll be down in a minute. That was a complete lie, I think, as I look in the mirror. I let out another wail. I grab a chunk of hair and grab it and yank on it, ripping out a bunch of strands. I look down at the mess in my hand, then to the mirror. I sob. Why did I have to get curly hair? It's so unfair. Why can't I be like all the pretty straight-haired girls on TV? I bury my face in my hands. All I want to do is go to bed, but I know I can't. My eyes veer over to the clock once again. 7:55 it reads. Oh no, the bus will be here in 5 minutes. I frantically look around and yank on my Uggs. Good, I think. Now at least I have my shoes on. I tug the brush to the lumpy hair. It gets caught, like I'm brushing through a magical retriever during shedding season. Why am I doing this, I think? Brushing my hair dry goes against every curly hair than what anyone has ever told me. As I set my brush down, I glare at it. I pick up a spray bottle and hold it above my head, like I'm the Statue of Liberty holding my candle. It's my saving grace. A little water makes everything better. I quickly spray my hair and gather it into a ponytail. So much for nice pastry day hair. I grab my black headband and slide it on after putting my hair into a ponytail. Well, at least you can't tell it's curly. I turn back to the clock, 7:59. Oh no, my bag isn't packed yet. I hear my brother opening the door, then slamming it shut. I feel my room rattle beneath me. I jump up and run downstairs. I throw my sandwich in my lunchbox and then my apples. I'm moving like a cheetah at this point. As I chuck my lunchbox into my bag, I hear my brother scream, Seda, hurry up, I can see the bus. I can feel my heart beating in my toes. As I sprint outside and down my driveway, my body floods with relief. The bright yellow bus is rounding the corner, approaching my house. I quickly give my mom a hug and walk onto the bus. As I sit down, I think about how that morning went. With dread, I realize I didn't eat breakfast and I don't have any snacks for my lunch. It's funny, bad mornings always result in chaotic days. I turn to my friend Sophia, and boy, did I have a story to tell her.
Hi, my name is Beatrice, and I'm going to be reading The Sun. A sun brings warmth and light into its solar system. It connects and holds all the planets together. My grandmother was the sun of my family. Once on Thanksgiving morning, everyone circulated around the kitchen. My aunts and uncles shuffled around the coffee maker. My cousins and I lined the table. When Grandma walked in, she felt the room warmth and joy. She brought us all together. I slowly walked up to greet her. I felt my feet creak on the hardwood floor. How's everything been? Getting good grades? My grandmother said softly. Yeah, I answered, plastering a happy smile across my face. My grandmother sat down at the center of the table. She went around asking questions and chatting up to everyone. Later that night, we were looking through my grandmother's little picture album. I saw pictures of her when she was young, even when she was my age. The pictures were gray and blurry, but I could still feel her warmth. I looked around at my family. Everyone had big smiles on their faces. The faint sounds of laughs lingered around the house. The house was alive. We were all circling the sun in our solar system. My grandma had brought us all together. She connected all of us. A few years later, we were driving my grandmother to our cousin's wedding. We were at the state line passing into New York. The car was quiet, and out of nowhere, I heard something. First, my grandmother screamed while slapping her hand to the very top of the dashboard to show she was the very first in the state. She had a wide smile across her face, just like a giddy little kid. Our family was stunned but the car was filled with laughter. A few months later, it was just like any other day, except it wasn't. My mom and dad sat my sister and I down. They had bad news. What could it possibly be? There was a brief second of silence. For that 1 second, there was nothing wrong. I held my breath. The light in the kitchen flickered, and I sat back down in my chair. Grandma died earlier this morning, my parents revealed. Their faces were stones. No, it can't be true, my sister screamed and broke down immediately. I felt empty. I felt wrong. I felt covered in darkness. The funeral was on Friday. We drove up to Pittsburgh where the funeral would be. I still felt empty and covered in darkness. After we left the funeral, life went on. Life was normal until the night all the darkness came out. I looked at the dark sky while I was driving home alongside my dad. Thanksgiving was a week or so, and I felt lonely around Thanksgiving, knowing things would never be the same after Grandma died. Then I felt something. My stomach dropped, and I felt submerged in sadness. The explosion finally hit me. My grandmother was gone. The sun no longer connected us. I would never go up to Thanksgiving and be surrounded by my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and my grandmother. Our solar system was gone. I felt all the memories start to feel fuzzy and distant, like I could only watch them through an icy glass window. I never thought about my grandma becoming a far and distant memories. Hot tears began to stream down my face. I was taken aback by a surge of sadness. Loneliness had been eating away at me, and it all burst out. My mind felt swelled with dread. I can't believe Grandma died. She's gone, I stammered in between sobs. Then my cries began to simmer down as a voice began to speak. I miss Grandma too, my dad consoled me. But just because she's gone, it doesn't mean we can't laugh about the memories we had with her. Then my sobs began to fall silent as the realization fell on me. I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one who felt this way. I suddenly saw a light start to shimmer in the cold and bitter darkness. I felt a hand reach out to mine and lead me out of the darkness. Remember the first time she slapped her hand against the dashboard to make it into New York first? I started to chuckle. My dad chuckled and I let out a sigh of relief. I realized losing someone is hard, but I couldn't be sad it's all gone. I had to be happy it ever happened. The memories came flooding back, the apple crisp, the Thanksgivings, the story, and the silly jokes. I felt my grandmother's warmth wrap around me and swallow me into a big hug. I looked up at the dark black sky. It wasn't dark though. I saw it filled with bright yellow stars.
Hi, my name is Agnes and my story is called New Beginnings. Well, this is it. Pulling out of the driveway felt different this time. Instead of our silver Honda leaving for school, grocery shopping, or sports, we pulled out in a big van filled with furniture. My bed, our couches, and all of our plates and pans were heaped in the back. Knowing that this was the final time I would ever be in our driveway left me with a sinking feeling in my stomach. The air in the truck felt heavy as I nervously bit my nails. I squeezed my eyes tight to avoid even a single tear from slipping down my cheek. I clenched my teeth together to keep my chin from trembling while trying to hide how painful it was for me to even leave the drive. The driveway was unremarkable, really not that special. It was practically stripped to nothing over the years, merely just some concrete with gravel over the top as a result of children running barefoot over games of tag and red light, green light, water sprinkling down from our water balloon fights, and millions of scooter and bike trucks. How is it that a driveway can make me feel so sad? The driveway had led to the only home I had ever known. As I looked around, I noticed blackberry bushes lining the sides of our driveway where I used to run early in the morning to gather them for breakfast before anyone else. Or even further, the creek, into which we would dive no matter how frigid the water was as soon as there was any hint of summer. Even though I'd been pleading for my parents to paint my yellow room a less babyish color since I was 9, I said a silent goodbye to the space I once resided in. I had missed hearing the thumping and fighting coming from the other side of our thin walls from my brother's room, although I always shouted back at them to be quiet. I had missed my squeaky door and my windows that somehow managed to let in gusts of wind every single day. I missed my tiny closet that I decorated with puffy stickers and Polaroid pictures, and how it was always impossible to see the floor through the layers and layers of clothes I refused to pick up. My room had seen it all. Everything I had never appreciated, I already missed. The yellow bathroom tiles, the 12 stairs I insisted on counting every time I ran up them, and the smell of fresh-cut grass on the weekends. All of it was gone, my entire childhood. How was I supposed to say goodbye? How was I supposed to give up my favorite memories and let go of the spot where both my best and worst times unfolded? I no longer had a home. I let out a small sigh as we turned off our road for the last time. I felt my eyes swell with tears as we made our way to our new house. I turned to face my dad in the driver's seat and gave him a hurt look. In that moment, I felt like he could see what I was feeling. He could see my sadness, he could see my loss, but also, he could see something I couldn't. My dad could see how this change wasn't going to be a bad thing. He turned to me and I could see his eyes soften as he reached over to pat my shoulder. Leaving behind our house doesn't mean it was never our home. Then I could see what he saw. I could see that it would all be okay. Every water balloon fight, every early morning swim, and even my whining over my room. All these memories would be connected to this place, and so will I. There will always be a piece of me that belonged to my first home.
My name is Phoebe Kelly, and I'm leaving a home to a house. How I remember my home in California. How I remember the bright orange door on the porch that acted as a beam of light shining towards the street. The worn-down lock on the door from every endless key turn. The muted green walls that insulated my home, keeping all the memories warm and safe. The teal stairs that led to the garage. The hardwood floors that shine despite being old and used. These floors reflected the memories of my life. Running in after forgetting my lunch in the fridge, playing tag in the hallways, when a friend or relative stepped in the house, leaving their unique shoe print, and every time my dad mopped the floors, just for them to become dirty again. They cover the house, seeing every moment in life, feeling everything. They've witnessed it all. Every year in this house, my family threw a huge party. Every year, the orange door would become tired of its continuous movement as it welcomed every guest. Every year, the new green walls absorbed new memories, like discovering new places during hide and seek, testing the limits of the trampoline beds, and running around on the fragile deck and slamming every door when leaving a room. The more my home was pushed, the stronger it became. Every dent in the wall and spill on the carpet would act as improvement to a home that was constantly growing and molding into a richer place. Leaving my home was hard, more or less agonizing, being ripped away from the only home I've ever known, going across the country and moving into a dull building. Nothing would ever be the same. The only thing that kept me sane was knowing it still stood, that it could still glow for everyone passing by. Every now and then I check on my home. I decided one day to show my friend a piece of myself that few people see. As I did, my hand shifted to the keyboard, shuffling my fingers to every key, typing in my address, pressing on the photos my leg began to shake. My eyes shifted back and forth, waiting for my screen to load. But as I started to scroll through the photos, I noticed a change. I stared at the photo and off. The more I wanted to speak, the more I couldn't. "I can't believe this. What happened?" I exclaimed in shock. The more I looked at the house, the more I noticed the differences. The orange door no longer shone on its porch. The worn-down lock was changed. The walls were no longer muted green but beige, and the teal stairs were not even shown. The floors were clearly not mopped, as they had no glimmer. Every part of my house, besides its structure, was changed or removed. Every part of my home no longer existed. "That's a cool house," my friend uttered. I looked at my friend. Her face was blank and wasn't fazed. Her eyes inspected the picture on my computer screen. Her eyes looked dull and shallow. The spark I would see in my friends' and family's eyes when they entered my home wasn't there. She stared at the building as if it were just another house. Perhaps it was to her, but to me it was everything. I sat there for a couple seconds, but it felt like forever. My head began to cloud the deeper I thought about this. Why would someone do this? This is my home. As I closed the tab, tears formed in my eyes. The corners of my lips lowered, my eyelids started to droop, and the tears began to stream down my cheeks. I turned away from my friend to conceal my expression and wipe my face. I mean, why wouldn't I? It was just a stupid house door anyways. She wouldn't understand. I began to bite my lip and tap my foot in an attempt to distract myself and remove what I just saw from my memory. But I couldn't. The truth had been revealed. I no longer had a home. Many people like to say that memories live in your heart. Mine don't. They lived in that house. They resided in the walls, floors, and furniture, and when those things were changed, and they covered every dent in the walls, buffed all the floors, and removed the stained carpet and weary beds, they erased and removed all proof of my life.
I'm Griffin Kelly, and this is my story of emotional traffic. Ignorance is bliss. One quote couldn't be more wrong. I was your typical 5-year-old. Happy, stupid, a handful for any adult. The one thing I was not was a good decision maker. That's probably how I found myself hanging out with the wrong crowd. They were second graders. And in my mind, the big kids. Being around them must make me cool. Trust me when I tell you it didn't. They were just a group of bad apples. And the more I hung out with them, the more wrong I got. Their names are not important. So from this point on, they will all be called Jerk 1, 2, and 3. I think my experience with them can be summed up into 3 different incidents. Incident 1. The sun had beamed down on the school that day that was trying to cook us. Finally, the adults had released us from the humid room after baking us for several hours. That day, I had a ham sandwich with me and decided that now would be the time to devour it. "What you got there?" Jerk 1 asked. "A sandwich," I responded. "What type of sandwich?" "A ham sandwich." They are my favorite, I replied. Ew! Ham is gross. Definitely disappointed and feeling a little hurt, I moved away to finish my sandwich. Each bite was pure bliss. My dad had made this for me, and I always loved his food. I finished gobbling it down, and a grin was plastered proudly on my face. After my belly was full, I went to go play with the other kids. Wham! The hot, rigid asphalt that is the ground became well acquainted with my tiny, fragile body. Pain was all I could feel, enormous pain. I could have died from the shock. Fortunately, my side had taken the brunt of the fall. Unfortunately, my friends had seen, and as you might have guessed, were not the most supportive. Wow, I can't believe I saw that, said Jerk too. The tears started falling from my eyes. The pain in my side was too much to bear. I crawled over to my friends for support, only to be met with harmful comments and disgusted looks. What's wrong with you, said Jerk three as he pointed to my side. I looked down to check. A grimace formed on my face as I gazed upon the wound covered in tiny pieces of rock and a whole lot of blood. It broke me. I had never seen something so gross in my life. That's what happens when people eat ham, said Jerk and we laughed. The cherry on top to a crappy situation someday. I didn't eat ham for years after that, and still today it feels gross when I try to eat it. Incident 2. The Jerks and I had something in common. Pokemon. Yes, the little monsters you forced to fight was every kid's favorite thing. Specifically those tiny pieces of cardboard. I collected hundreds of Pokemon cards, and not to brag, I had a lot of good ones. Maybe that's why they patronized me. Nobody actually knew to play the game, so my friends just made up their own. Somehow, I always ended up losing. What a coincidence. And in these games, the loser always gave the winner some of their cards. Darn, I lost again, I'd say, or, man, I was so close to winning. This went on for weeks. Each loss was like a cup of water poured on the fire that was my hope, and it was dwindling. On this particular day, the adults had us all in the cafeteria, so that means it's Pokemon time. And this was special because I'd gotten a bunch of cool new ones for my birthday, and of course it means playing against my friends. I was sure today would be the day to end my streak of bad luck. It wasn't even close. My fire monkey, my water lizard, even my cool dragon, which are all pretty good ones, all taken. Like always, the tears flowed down my face and splashed into the floor. Better luck next time, laughed Jerk too, and a smile formed on his twisted face. I went home that day too afraid and embarrassed to tell anyone what happened. I was down to my last straw with these rapscallions. Incident 3. A somber winter afternoon. Well, the tears dried up, the cards never returned, and the pain wasn't forgotten. The little old me just doesn't quit. There sitting at the table were my friends. Hey kid, come over here, said Jerk 2. I begrudgingly sat down to listen to their fantastic idea. So what is it now, I asked, but the poorly hidden grins and muffled laughter show I was not in for a good time. We found out a cool new word, we should all say it, said Jerk 2. Oh really, old man, what would that be? Jerk 1 looked up to check for nearby adults. When he had confirmed the coastal story, he whispered it. Poop. All of them laughed as they each uttered the word. Finally, all eyes were on me. In my head, I had a difficult choice. It seemed that the word was perfectly fine, and peer pressure was beginning. However, I still had a gut feeling that they were up to no good. Come on, say it already, egged on Jerk 2. I took in a deep breath. Poop. Right then, the Jerks sprang up from their seats and ran over to an adult. Teacher, teacher, they yelled. He said a bad word. Sheer panic formed on my face, and my stomach started knotting. My heart started hurting, and sweat rushed down my face. I wanted to throw up. I knew what was coming next. I was told to sit in a chair and don't get up while adults sat next to me and make sure I didn't do anything. And like always, the tears came back. Alas, I could cry a river in tears and nothing would change. That's when Jerk 1 approached me. Hey, can I play games on your thingy? He asked with another smoke grin. No! I screamed. The jolt cut me off. That's enough out of you! Jerk 1 laughed under his breath and walked away with my video games. I'd just sit there and watch him, and all I could do was cry. The camel's back was thoroughly shattered. Jerks, that's all they are. People that take advantage of you for their own gain. And I was blinded by the cool kids and promises of friendship to see it until now. My wanting to be liked left me sad and alone. But maybe you need to be sad alone for a while, because it's better than an empty friendship covered in pain and misery. I just got away from them. They ignored me and tried to talk to me, and eventually they stopped. But I did find other friends. These ones respected me and my time and valued our friendship. I was skeptical first, but little by little, I made it to the end of the traffic.
Hi, my name is John Paul Kaltakhtchian, and I'm going to read my story. This is called The Kid I Used to Be. Alright. My life is amazing. I spend time with my family and friends, and I work to get good things in my life. But I was not always like this. I'll tell you what happened. In first grade, I got bullied a lot. Every day I had to deal with someone being mean. I would go home and I would cry because I always felt like I was alone in this world. But one day, something changed. I was at lunch drawing. I really liked to draw. It was one of my favorite things. I've always enjoyed it. A fourth grader came up to me and said, "Who would that be?" I told him it was SpongeBob, and I opened up the comic. With the first few jokes in the comic, he started laughing hysterically. A couple of people came over to see it, and everyone was laughing and giving me compliments. We were having a good time together, and I was thinking, wow, I like this feeling. I like making people laugh with my drawings. I like making jokes. If people are laughing at my jokes, they might be liking me. I came back from school that day feeling pretty good, and I was drawing all night long. I came back with so many characters: Mario, Spider-Man, Bugs Bunny, Batman, and every joke I made would crack myself up while I was making the comic. For example, what would Batman do if he wasn't rich? He'd be Robin. What kind of hairdo does SpongeBob and his friends have? Wavy. Nothing felt more better than amusing myself, and I knew finally things were going on track in my life. So, even though things are hard, and there will be some bad times in life, it's only the beginning of something good. And this is why I think that first grade was bad, but second grade was much better. This says that all hope is not lost. It's like a car. You're driving on the highway. It's difficult. There is a lot of traffic and a lot of honking of horns, but once you make it all the way to the destination, it really feels good. And with the love and encouragement of your friends and family, you can do anything you want. And I think that's why love is so important, because it inspires us to become better people in our life. Thank you.
So that concludes the memoir portion of our evening. I want to thank the students for sharing those wonderful stories. Next, you're going to be hearing from a group of students who are going to be sharing some original works of poetry. I know it was mentioned at the beginning of tonight that we talk a lot about windows and mirrors in language arts, and another thing that we talk a lot about is identity. We look at characters and how characters' identities shape their lives, and we look at how identities are really important parts of our community. So these groups of students who are going to be sharing the poetry coming up next are going to be very personal poems. They're going to be sharing a lot about where they're from, about values they hold close, and about what makes them who they are. So I hope you enjoy this next portion of our evening.
Sewing beads on a kitchen table, weary hands and hours of painful picking. From sweet potato payasos and juicy leaves, comfortable and delightful chocolate takes your tongue, and a sweet aroma of marshmallows fills the air. From tamales and arroz con leche, in which the sweet scent of soup fills the house, and from saying always appreciate what you have. And from cookout to staying over at my cousin's, games that I was entertainment to barely staying awake. And from having midnight parties and quinceañeras, drowsy and fatigued from such activities. And I am from the sand-colored house in the dry desert of Texas, hot and muggy from the textured house, worn out by the years of humid air. I am from tumblings everywhere, round and bristly, poking and sensitive with allergies. And I am from Anna and Dana and how tender and loving was there, and they have always supported us through such hard times. From Faith to the Chango, a name that has always been stuck with me, and after my family moving to America for a better life, to a family who has always said we keep your culture close. I am from my Basel and Mexican and Puerto Rican ancestors with the smell of such delicious food. And I am from a loving and kind family in which I will always treasure.
Hi, my name is Ruzhen, and I'm talking about where I am from. Best wishes, here I am from. I am from my lovely grandparents, from the hand that touches my hand and the love that bumps into mine, from the responsibility that holds me up, and from the memory that drops me down. I am from the music the instruments play. Inspire me from day to night. The timbre satisfies all my mind. From the lasting sound that has ever comes around. I am from soccer play, a sport that involves both play and aim. From a team that works like a family. Treasuring all these things, push them with all my might. I'm from a goal, such a battle took strategy, paying so much for it, but never return. I'm from the books, wheels of gathering up, from every corner of the library, from one and another story, fantastic but fascinating, from consistent imagination and consideration, and whimsy pops out each moment. I am from all those people around me, from friends accompanied with growing, loving hiccup, all of their goodness, from the shape of my personality, I'm from the environment that I am living in. From those people who called my name, just so impressed by the connection with that few words. From a real festival and national holiday, smelling hot, sour, sweet, and bitter. From the teachings of morals and ethics, from the thinking as a student. Homeworks with knowledge constantly develops. From the initial start to the untold future, wander in the corridor of the time. But I am a human that tries to engineer myself. Thank you. And this I did not include that I am essentially comes from my parents, and without them I was now standing here, and that's for our kids over here.
Hi, my name is Gorman, and I'll be presenting a piece called My Heart. I feel full when I'm at the sandy beach with swaying palm trees and warm sand collapsing on my feet. I feel broken when I look out the window to see our earth slowly dying. I feel empowered by my looks, standing loud and proud, embracing my relatives' fight. I feel stuck like quicksand when gossip is in the air, scared to say the wrong thing. I feel confident like a wrecking ball, bursting through my barriers when playing the sport I love, lacrosse. I feel defeated when I try my hardest and get pushed down, losing every ounce of faith. I feel warmth within the hands of others, holding mine like a spark of electricity on a light. I feel unlocked when talking about the following, because these are the things that sit in my heart. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ben, and this is where I'm from home. I'm from long cold nights filled with shadow, from the sound of clawing on the door and the wind rattling the windows. I'm from the rusted swing set in my backyard to the beautiful shining stars I gaze into at night. I'm from a withered rose bush that is hugged by sharp prickly thorns. I'm from the smell of my mother's I'm from the smell of bacon my mother cooked and Babuslaka's kitchen fuming with delicious smells. I'm from cutting the masnik and hoping you get the coin to the crisp, cheesy bread that came with it. I'm from loud family gatherings and the hot sun beating down on the land, from speak up and quiet down you. I'm from the rocky coast beaches with clear waters. I'm from the mountain-rich land where peaches grow, and the sweet baklava to the crisp halva. I'm from the stone house my dad grew up in, and the beaded angel hanging on my mother's neck, to the vegetable garden wrapping around my yard, filled with ripe memories.
Okay, wait. Alright, my name is Isabella, and my poem is called Timelines. I am from marble floors filled with dirt and grime, from salty oceans and sand between my toes. I am from the comfort of blankets, their warm, comforting fabric wrapped around me. I am from lavender. Its soft smell reminds me of the many essential oil diffusers I've had. From the coils on top of my head, little ringlets full of texture and bounce. Curly hair forever scalped atop to my head. I am from January 6th, El Dia de los Tres Reyes, where we receive gifts and joy. From rinsing carrots and celery to pouring water into a bowl on 3 King's Day nights. From Sandra, mi hermana de Cuba, y Lopez, a last name I will never forget. From people who came to Ellis Island from Sopiki, Greece to give me the last name Pappademos. I'm from fresh-baked muffins to spanakopita and pasticcio to fried plantain con brie. I'm from pumpkin muffin baked mornings and apple crumble nights. From Christmas, where we would gather around the TV and watch the Santa tracker. From my parents who have the capacity to prepare me for the world in the best way that they can, with every word they have to share. From music, its sweet serenade hits my soul. From late-night Cuban parties infused with the essence of liveliness, to Hispanic family members that yell and sing to songs, also Hispanic family friends. From bittersweet pomegranate hanging off the tall tree branch just out of reach, that falls marking time. From the generosity and love of family members. From kicking the soccer ball down a field when my parents screamed from the sidelines. From game nights in my basement when I would sit and do mind-boggling brain puzzles. This way of life has created a specific mold for me and only me. Okay, I'm done. Reading my I'm From poem, and my name is Brianna Smith. I'm from silent streets full of space, from fenced yards and basketball hoops, from the swish of the sound of a ball, feet hitting the ground as the sun on the hot driveway. I'm from off-field homes covered with strawberry vines and planted yellow flowers in the backyard. I'm from infectious smiles lighting up any room. I'm from swimming all day and joyful moments. I'm from grandma's steak and potatoes and mom's love. I'm from moving to CT to New York and back, from highs and lows of being a twin to the constant battles that we have with each other, to playing games and having fun. I'm from green grass and pale snow, from enormous fireworks, the boom of something loud lighting up the sky with colors reflecting in my eye. I'm from funny friends and silly moments filled with laughter, from pushing and shoving, screaming and yelling, to helping and caring, laughing and sharing. I'm from having fun even in bad situations, and that's all about me.
Hi, I'm Sichau, and I'm presenting my poem, Fear. Everyone feels fear. It's a basic human feeling. Expressing fear is different for everyone. Some scream like a death metal song, some cry loud and obnoxious. Some become angry and let their anger control them. When I feel fear, I just freeze. My body is still. My face feels cold. It feels like someone put ice cubes on it. I can feel them melting off my face. The smooth, cold water spilling. The nerves in my shoulders feel like spikes. They poke me until I calm down. My fingers are the only part of my body that isn't still. My fingers feel cold and shake. My face contorts into a mess. My eyes dart towards whatever's scaring me. I feel nauseous, like I've been shaken after eating. Everything puts fear in me. Someone walking up the stairs, someone calling my name, someone behind me, someone in front of me, someone raising their arm, someone looking at me, someone yelling at me. There are some that say that they don't feel fear, but that's an obvious lie. Everyone feels fear. Even if it's something minuscule, like dropping some papers, or something big, like a parent getting a call from school. Or expecting fear, like when you're watching a horror movie, or unexpected fear, like when a friend runs towards you to scare you. No matter if you're a grown adult or a child with an underdeveloped brain, everyone feels fear, and everyone fears something.
Hi, my name is Zariyatara Martinez, and this is my poem. My mind is my own, pulling my own strings, controlling my own. The space that cannot be invaded, the imagination that keeps on flowing. My mind is my own show to tell, showing people my creativity, putting my feelings into art. My mind is my own, the judgment of people, of our crucial world, the negative criticism of all of my peers will not and never shall change my frame of mind. My mind is my own.
perspectives as a way to show the inequalities with gender in the world. Perfect world. A world of equality. That's what many hope for, but it never seems to exist. Issue after issue, wearing down the hope in everyone. Yet every voice that tries to bring awareness gets drowned out in an ocean of loud nonsense. Trying and trying to be heard, slowly losing hope of ever being understood, now consumed by doubt. Change becomes a lost cause, meaning everything stays the way it is. Promptly, a world of equality becomes a distant fantasy. They call me Evangeline, a name that means bearer of good news, though there seems to be no good news to share. I'm a frontline worker among many women, although some of what should be our paycheck gets stolen by men. But what can we do? More specifically, what can I do? For I am never listened to. So again, my name may be Evangeline, but I am unable to find any good news to share. Not that anyone would listen anyway. We'll always get paid less. Thomas. Oh, how that name obliterates my happiness. Multiple times I introduce myself as Jasmine, but no one even bothers to learn my name anyway. They don't care, and they never will. And I've stopped thinking I will ever get help. I mean, why reduce the hours of Stephen when you could reduce the work hours of Jasmine? Nobody cares that she already lost so much. But what can I do? I can't speak up because people will view me as a threat. So farewell, hope, since I know everyone thinks let's all shun her for being herself. No one will ever care. Gemma, the prettiest girl at school. At what cost? That's not important. All that matters is being pretty, since girls are supposed to look absolutely stunning and obviously be proper. I am what girls are supposed to be, and many adore it. Why does the price matter? It doesn't matter how much I spend on clothes, on makeup, on hair products. As long as I am what everybody wants, the price is worth it, right? Rachel, a dog restrained by a tight leash, waiting to soar to the peak of Freedom Mountain, and finally be able to roam anywhere she wants. But I don't know if I can wait that long, or if that could ever happen, since my captor would never allow it. I will never escape Qatar, nor will I escape the prison of commands which limits what I wear, what I can do, who I can see. No studies, no driving, no traveling, and especially no marriages, at least not without a male guardian's consent. Trapped in a cage of confines, let's face it, I'm not on a leash, I'm on a chain, a cold, painful, and iniquitous chain. I will always be considered lesser. A pretty face. That's all many want myself, Amber, to be. I always hear myself described as pretty, never intelligent, hardworking, or responsible. After all, everyone just focuses on my looks, and I'm not taken seriously. They just want me to keep quiet, because I'm just a gem to them, something to be paraded around, something that's only purpose is to look pretty, something that's useless for anything else. But that's not me. Yet whenever I try to explain this, they just tune me out, just look instead of listen. So nothing can change, no, nothing will change, no matter how hard I try. After all, what's one small little murmur gonna do against a sea of loud voices? I will never be appreciated. For some reason, people underestimate me, but then why would I, Ivy, be in this college? I have one of the highest GPAs in my school. I have a bright future ahead of me. At first glance, people will not even guess that I even graduated high school. I do not understand it, yet it's still offensive. I am bright in multiple ways. I am always optimistic, and I am very intelligent. Put those two together, and I will be able to lighten this stormy night. And I will find a way to prove to them my potential. And I know that I cannot do any of this by myself, nor that I am the only person being underestimated. So if I put everyone's light together, without blinding anyone, they will be able to see what the darkness hid from them, and will finally be free of prejudices. Though many problems exist, they can be solved. Instead of having millions of people fighting alone, we can have a team, to have support, to have many different views be understood, to stop drowning in the sea of noisy nonsense, to be heard even when mute, to be aided when in need, to be able to be who we want to be set free from every cage, to be appreciated for our abilities and skills, to be able to evade prejudices, to make this perfect world into a perfect world, or at least as much as we can, one step at a time.
David Lee. I'm the Quest teacher here at Sedgwick, and we're going to end this portion of the night with 5 projects that represent our Quest program. And in Quest, we put a lot of emphasis on passion projects and independent projects where students get to pursue any topic that they want to come up with some original creative product with. And so the 5 projects represented by 6th grade and 8th grade Quest students that you're about to hear represent that huge variety. So you're going to hear a call to action for the support of the LGBTQ plus community. You're going to hear selections from 2 original works of historical fiction, selections from an original poetry collection, and selections from a teen's guide to mental health. So I'm going to turn things over to you, Sam 1.
Hi, I'm Sam Warren, and this is my declaration of change for Day of Silence. Day of Silence is an event in which students get to participate or choose to participate in being silent for the entire day. Yes, I mean the entire day, or you can at least try, which is nice. To be silent, to protest the silencing of LGBTQ plus students across the country and around the world. So, here I am. We have to do it because we can no longer stay invisible. We have to be visible. We should not be ashamed of who we are. That quote from Sylvia Rivera is a sign. A neon screen of flashing on the side of a building, an email sent out full of warning and hope, a poster in the hallways of the school. It is the action of standing up for ourselves because we have been hidden for far too long underneath an invisible cloak of not understanding, not accepting, not thinking. All of us have seen and felt the invisible pressure of that cloak, regardless of gender, sexuality, or mind, stereotyped by the clothes we buy, pushed out by the difference of what we are and who you want us to be. There are people, humans out there, who hold rallies against us, humans who commit their whole lives to proving us wrong when they could be living with us, laughing with us, loving us. Humans who say Christ or chaos and not normal. Guess what? You were friends with us before we told you we loved him and not her. You were family for us before we let you know our true pronouns. Why must it change now? You loved us before when we were us. Love us now when we are us too. All that's changed is the color of our rainbow. If you're going to hate, at least try before you walk away. We have gathered here today because we are not hidden under that invisibility cloak anymore. We are always fighting, always pushing for change. We ask to be us, nothing more, just us. We let you be you, let us be us. Scratch that. We are us. We are the voices among the crowd that will speak out when faced with adversity and will not just adjust when the status quo is not just. Some of us, most of us, all of us are scared. You have clipped our wings when we could fly. We could hold hands instead of guns. We could smile instead of snarl. We could love instead of hate. We are silenced for one day of the year, every year, to represent whom we are. We do not pretend it's fine. Change needs to happen. We are not where it starts. We are how it carries on. We will not be silenced again. This is an excerpt from my historical fiction novel set in 1776 about a girl who wants to fight for American freedom. Cold. That's all I can remember. It was an unusually cold May night and the snow was coming down. Benjamin and I were both safe at home that night, for the last time. He and Papa had just finished the workday as the first flakes fell from the sky. They had run inside at the end of the day covered in light powder and laughter. But after supper, the house was glacial. The firewood was wet from the snow. The house was dark. Mama and I couldn't see our sewing, so we went to bed. But I could hear the gunshots from across town. I wished I could fight in the revolution for freedom. I got out of bed and crept down the stairs. I could hear talking. "Hello?" says my father. "Good evening, sir," says a voice I didn't know. "What brings you here so late at night, young man?" "Do come in," my father replies, always a gentleman.
I am Richard Brown, sir. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. I'm looking for recruits. You see, all men from ages 16 to 45 are now required to join the Continental Army. We must have freedom. My son is 17 and I am 49. I am sorry I cannot help our noble cause, but my son, Benjamin, will serve for freedom. Thank you for your service. Wait, I yell, running to the front door, still in my night clothes. I can fight! The man in the doorway, my father and my brother, who had been silent before, began to laugh. I had known my brother to have a temper, but never to plainly disrespect me. Oh, he was going to pay. A girl? Fight? Ridiculous, Mr. Richard Brown says. And how old are you? 10? 11? I am 12-year-old Abigail Jane Smith. I can fight. Sure you can. Girls can fight, and people will walk on the moon too, Mr. Brown exclaims, more laughing. Abigail, up to bed, my father says. Upstairs, I contemplate what to do. I want to fight, or to help at least. Should I run away? Stay here and hope for the best? I wander right up until the sun comes peeking through the clouds like a candle in the darkness. I rise and dress, wondering. Thank you.
My name is Alexis Shukla. Today I'll be reading a journal entry from my book, Sunk. Sunk is about a young girl and her mother who go on the Titanic. The journal entry I will be reading after this takes place after the Titanic sank. So the girl is already on the cart path yet. The mother sadly did not make it. I finally fell asleep around 6:30 in the morning. I woke up at 9 a.m. I am tired and my head aches. Also, my hand hurts a little bit. I hear the voices of other people. I hear worried voices and hurt voices. Then I hear Mother's voice in my head. I try to blink back tears, and I crawl under my blanket and sit there. I sit for hours, then I lie down. I toss and turn under the blanket. I don't know what will happen next. Days pass by and I barely move at all. I see a green figure holding up a torch and wearing a crown. I ask a crew member where we are and what is the date. They say the date is April 18th and we've just arrived in New York. I thank them as I go to the rail. I'm amazed at how large the city is. I really am sad about Mother, but I know I must try to move on. We dock and I get off the ship. I don't know where to go. I walk a little bit and decide to sit down on a bench. I'm all alone, scared and hungry. After sitting down, I go for a walk to try to clear my head. On my walk, I see a sign that says, "Orphan train, come to the Northeast train station for a ride to a new family." I may as well go check it out because I have nowhere else to go, I say to myself. I have to walk about 3 kilometers to reach the train station. When I arrive, I see someone who looks like a person who works on the train. I say to him, "Hello, I have nowhere to go, and I saw a sign that there was a train that could take me to a place where I could be loved again." He replies, "Yes, get on the train. It will take you to Indiana where you will be put into foster care." I thank the man as I get aboard the train. I will find an open seat and sit down. Soon I hear the engine roar and the train starts moving. A few hours pass by and then the train stops. This is where I find my new home. I think to myself as I get off the train. I hear someone say to get in a crowd while the parents choose who they want. They start picking people. I'm the 34th person to get picked. The family that picked me wanted only one child, so they picked me and no one else. They asked me a few questions about myself and then some of them I didn't want to answer. The one I most did not want to answer was the one that what happened to my parents. They didn't want to make me answer that question because they saw it brought tears to my eyes. We walked a little ways and then stopped at a house. They said, "This is your house now. Please make yourself at home." I nod and walk inside. I sit on the couch. There's an open book on the table in front of me. I read a few words of it. They say, "No matter how hard things can be, and if everything feels like it's collapsing on you, just remember that someone cares and is there for you." I think about those words for a little. Then my new parents called me in the dining room for supper. I feel thankful that I have a warm place and food in my stomach. I'm thankful that I survived, and I know I must try to move on no matter how hard it can be, but I know I have to try. Thank you.
My name is Aubrey Lindquist, and I'm going to read 3 poems. This first one is called Truth. A thought, a hope, an endless tale. How to tell, will it fail? Will it die, will it live a fulfilled life? How can you tell what has happened when no one can tell it to you? How can you know the truth when no one can tell it to you? What have you lived through, and what will follow you for the rest of your time? Will it all be divine, or will there be a harder truth you must accept, leave it repeat? A fountain, a spout of endless lives, what will become of all these lives? Made to go away, expected to die. What will happen? Will you deny the tragedy, the endless tears you have succumbed to over the years? This next one is called Life. Dismay or hope, how to cope. Everywhere, everywhere, what is in the air? Suffocation, demolition, words smashed and put together, hearts smashed away to wither. The glue is in the stories, the rhyming in the verse. The key to living free and broad is to stay away from the curse. As life goes on, dragging you along, don't lose where you started, or else you may lose perspective of all the wonder and the hope, dragged along a ragged edge, worn off, left for death. This is my last poem. What does it mean to be free? What does it mean to be free? Because I hear it but don't feel it. They shush me and shove me away to the shadows, as if I don't matter. My opinions, my identity, my heart, all can shatter. To shrapnel of hope, left, still unbroken.
For my quest project this year, I wrote a book on mental health for students. Welcome to A Teen's Guide to Mental Health. In this book, we will look at the ins and outs of mental health. You will learn more about what mental health is and how you can manage it. Everybody at all ages deals with mental health, and it usually becomes apparent around their teenage years. As a teenager, you are constantly growing and your mental health is growing with you. It can be extremely challenging to manage our emotions, especially because we don't have control over many of the things that cause stress. We can't control our homework or our schedule, and we can't control the behavior of people around us. So we need to learn how to adapt to these things, because mental health is so important. However, before we get into this information, there are a few things you need to know. First, dealing with our mental health isn't always easy. There'll be days when you feel like it's impossible and days when you feel great. It's normal to have bad days. You just need to know how to move on from that. Second, this information may overwhelm you, and that's okay. There's a lot to unpack about mental health, so take your time. Read at your own pace. If you find yourself with concerns about your mental health, talk to an adult or a professional. Therapy is a great tool if you need some guidance. Therapists can offer more personal plans of attack and overall a face to talk to. There are a variety of things you could discuss with them, and they can help you work through whatever you may be going through. One last thing you should remember is that you should always trust yourself. You know your body best. Often doubt gets in the way of self-care, so don't be afraid of discomfort. Challenge yourself to push past it. Prioritize yourself and admit your problems. The key to mental health is to be in touch with yourself, and in this book we will learn how to do this. I'm now going to read the section about mental health. The first thing you will learn about mental health, the term mental health, is being discussed more and more lately. While it may be hard to manage at first, you will find that once you get to understand your own emotions, it will be easier to manage. Mental health is defined as one's condition involving physical and emotional health. Essentially, mental health is your ability to function and determines how you deal with stress. Mental health doesn't just refer to people with a mental disorder, it refers to everyone. Whether they are happy, sad, content, or mad. It's not just whether you have good mental health or bad mental health. Your mental health is constantly changing. And even though we all have mental health, not every situation is a mental health issue. Feeling stressed, sad, or angry is okay as long as it doesn't affect your daily life. When emotions become severe and constant, it becomes a mental health issue. It's important to note that it's okay to not be okay. Many people face mental health issues, and you are certainly not alone. Mental health has become an increasingly important topic. Your everyday life is filled with a lot of stressors such as school, sports, relationships, and social media.
Not all stressors can be harmful to us. Stressors can be both positive and negative, and if we learn how to manage our stress, we can use it to benefit us. That concludes the performance part of this evening. We invite you to the library to enjoy refreshments.